Yo, what's going on, beautiful people? It is your re-entry coach, your re-entry specialist, Coach T for the win, bringing you another episode of Fell Into Phenomenal. Man, I hope all of you all have been holding it down, been blessed, been encouraged, been motivated, and even if you haven't, you feel what you feel and then get back to the mission. But as far as I'm concerned, I've been good, been moving and shaking, got a lot of things in the works, but you know how I am and how I like to do it on the podcast. I can't do it by myself. So I'm going to bring on a guest, but I'll give a little bit of background about how I met this person. About the end of last month, I went to an event here in Houston, Texas. It was called Prison to Power, Finding Your Voice After Incarceration, because I want to get more involved and share what I have with my community as far as my program with Fell Into Phenomenal. So I got to get active. I got to get out there with the people. I can't be shy. I can't hope somebody gonna come knock on my door. I got to get there. So I went to this event and connected with two organizations. One is Pure Justice, and then the other one was Texas Advocates for Justice. Let me slow down. I'll be talking fast. I'll be excited. But yeah, so they had different representatives at this table, and I signed up. And one of the representatives reached out to me, and it was an automatic connection. And I knew that I needed to be a part of this organization and connect and learn what she had to offer. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm gonna add to the stream Miss Nikki. Is it Luella?
Yes, Llewellyn.
Okay, I can read. I can read. Nikki Llewellyn in the building. First and foremost, representing herself, but is an active member of Texas Advocates for Justice. What's going on? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tangi. I'm glad to be here, glad to be in the house, and good afternoon to everybody else out there that's tuning in today.
All right. Now, before we get into the organization that you participate in, I want to learn a little bit more about you and your own particular journey. So, do you have a background?
Yes, I have a background in advocacy, art, and then also incarceration. So I began in advocacy when I was 17 years old. I got conscious really looking at the internet, looking at videos that were posted on the internet about what was occurring in the Black community. They were also talking about the power that we did have. And so I started when I was 17 passing out YouTube links to my poetry and what I was doing and letting people know, what I was about. And so it was just me by myself for a while, just, doing the work. And then I started to put on my own plays in the community that dealt with issues like black on black crime, drug abuse, also police brutality, gentrification. So I started in that way with the stage play. So my activism started with art. And then from art, I kind of got into some trouble when I was like 20. I think I was like 22, 24. I think I was like 24, and I got into some trouble, and that was my first experience with the system. My mom was incarcerated for a while, like for some years. So, I had kind of raised by my sister. And so that incarceration thing has always been like something that's kind of affected me, growing up too, not always having my mom around. But I end up getting into some trouble myself. And I was at a club and I end up getting arrested, and I end up getting like deferred adjudication, but then I end up going back to jail because I violated the probation. And then after I did that, then I went to jail again later on for a positive reason because I was protesting, you know. But yeah, so I just, me as an individual, my story is that I use my art to impact and to make a difference, and to make a change. And also I use my voice to also empower people, which whatever tools that I have to work with.
Man, I like how you started off answering that question when I asked you about the background. I like how you went with the positive and then threw in, yeah, I got a little record. But I want to ask a little bit more about, not in detail, because we focus more on, the steps after. but I wanted to kind of get an idea of like the mindset, because you had history with your mother being incarcerated, and then there was a point in time where you, I guess, I don't know if it was decision making, if it was a character, or if it was how you were feeling, put yourself in a position to have your own experience, your incarceration experience. So what kind of mind state do you say you were in, as opposed to now, that kind of caused you to get caught up in the criminal justice system?
Um, I was angry. I was, because I knew so much. Like when I was 17, I knew so much, and it was, I felt at that time, I didn't know that there was actual organizations out there that was doing the work, and I generally kind of was angry because I felt alone. And it was a lot of, it was just a lot of pain there because I was angry at the system. I was also just angry about my situation, that I wasn't where I was supposed to be in life. And I reacted negatively because, I was arrested at a club. So of course I was drinking, but there was also something I had to overcome too in my life is, alcohol addiction. When I was younger, and there, nobody took me by the hand, nobody mentored me and said, you have so much talent, you have so much potential, let me talk to you about, you drinking, and let me get you some help or just mentor you. And so I felt alone. I was upset at the system. I was upset about, my situation. And so that was the mindset that I was at then. And that's what, led to that, bad decision making.
I hear that. So what was okay, so what you already had kind of like a positive outlook from the beginning, and then kind of dealing with what you had going on, your emotions kind of affected your decision making, and like you said, that mentorship, that support, that helps as well. So you say you lacked that, but then you started to find your way. So the
Hmm.
next time you were arrested, it was out of support, about being active in the community and things like that. So, what was like a pivotal moment that kind of changed you, and started putting you on a path to like pouring into yourself, and making more positive actions and decisions?
What put me on a positive path is recognizing that I do have something to live for. Um, I think that what kind of hit me most is that I wasn't living up to my full potential. And after
Mhm.
so many negative things kept
That's good.
happening to me, yeah, like so much negative things kept happening to me back to back, and I mean, it was like it was at the point, really it was alcohol abuse that led me to, I ended up getting kicked out of college, kind of, and literally not kicked out but shut out because I failed classes that I should have passed. So I really kind of kicked myself out, and I didn't
That
take my
accountability.
yeah, and I didn't take, I didn't take my gift serious. I didn't take my influence serious, and so many opportunities that were given to me, I ruined them myself because I wasn't ready for those opportunities. And so after just kind of being shut out of everything, and then finally given the opportunity to have work in a field that I enjoy, which is advocacy, that really, changed my life because I thought about, say, I want to make a positive impact. I want to make a difference. And I do have something to live for. And I don't want to destroy my life before it even starts. And that was I just seen myself going down that path, and I said, I gotta stop. I have to break this. Now I don't have no resources. I don't have nowhere to go, and so it was really doing a self-reflection and challenging myself, and saying to myself, what do you want for yourself? What do you want out of your life? And so I want to impact people. I want to be the person that, can tell people my story, and then tell them they can get through what they're going through, so that's what changed. I just thought about what is and what kind of impact would I make, on society, and then for myself as well.
Man, this is good stuff, people. Y'all need to be taking notes and writing this down and asking yourself these questions, man, because I love these moments, because all the things that you asked yourself that had effect on your transition is what I implemented and fell into phenomenal. Asking
Mhm.
yourself what you want out of life. Who are you? And basically, who do you have to become to get that? You have to make some changes, let go of some things. The accountability is so good. Man, I love that. So now you mentioned getting into the advocacy work. Like, how did that happen? That didn't fall in your lap. I mean,
Yeah,
aside from
that
what you
happened.
I'm talking about the connections, like going into what you do now.
So how I got into advocacy was that, well, it was through art, but um Mignon is a lady from Texas Advocates for Justice. She came to me and she said, I think that this will be a great opportunity for you to put your poetry out there. And she came to it like that. And she was like, we work on mass incarceration. We're against the criminalization of Black and brown communities. And so me and her met at a coffee shop, and we sat down, and she showed me what the program, what they're about as an organization. And so she said, come and just do some poetry. She said, we need some type of art, in what we're doing. And I think you'll be a great addition to the team. So that's how I first started, like, going to protest. Like, that was my first protest when we went down to Austin. And then after that, I connected through, I was writing for the school newspaper, for Texas Southern University newspaper. And I met a lady whose husband was killed by the police, Nikita Brazil, and her husband is Alva Brazil. And so a guy came to us from the school, and he knew her, and he said, I think that y'all should write about her, about her story, and I can connect y'all to. And so after getting connected with her, we started doing protests in front of the jailhouse. We started going to city council, commissioner's court, and I also got connected with another family whose loved one was hung in a jail. So that's how I got involved with it. It was through the arts, and it was first Texas Advocates for Justice, and then I started getting involved with, like, helping families and, like, advocating with them and protesting with them.
Wow. Okay. So look, man, you doing all this poetry. I DJ poetry shows. You need to come spit some of that on some of the shows I be on, man. I love to hear what you got. Cause I hate that I missed your protest through art. What was it? A virtual event last night?
Mm-hmm.
How did that go?
Yep.
Just I was curious. I hate I missed it.
Yeah, it went really well. It was awesome. We really got down to, the seriousness of art and the impact that art can have on people's lives. And so the panelists were talking about, how they're using their art to impact change in the community, whether it be a protest. One lady is Bridget Walker with Children's Prison Arts, and she goes into the prisons, and she works with youth with art, and so they work on art. And she was telling us about how she's seen the youth transform through using art in their lives. So that's her, main work. And then we had another poet on there, and he was talking about how he's, in looking towards entrepreneurship with artists, and how he's providing opportunities through his magazine. So it was really just a meeting of the minds, and just discussing just the power of art, and just bouncing and sharing ideas off of one another.
Man, that sounds good. Is there a replay somewhere?
Yes,
Is it
yes,
up on
there's
YouTube?
yes, there's something on YouTube. It's on the Grassroots Leadership page.
Grassroots leadership. Okay. Nah, I'm just check that out for myself. Y'all should too, man. Know what's going on in the community. So question, cause now that I'm getting connected with people such as yourself and these different organizations, and they do have protests. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little afraid of being arrested for protest. Like, how does that experience work? Like, I don't know. You got to sit that out. I mean, I don't want to go back to jail. I'm just tell me a little bit about that. I mean, your experience, and who get you out, man.
Well, when what happened was, it was really a heat of the moment. So, like, I wasn't even expecting to just go to jail, but I was so upset, because I was with the family of Vincent Young. So, that's the one where Melanie's young brother is Vincent Young, and her brother was hung in the jail. And so we were in front of the jail and we were protesting. And so they told us, they said, we said we want to go see Kim Og. We're going to march up there and we're going to go see her because she's not responding to anything. She's not giving us a response. And so the police were out there at our protest, and they were telling us, they said, y'all need to, get away, get back. And, you have 5 seconds to get back before we arrest y'all, so they're saying you got 5 seconds. And so I was so heated, and I was like, how dare you tell us that, basically you trying to tell us that we don't have a voice and we don't matter and we can't protest right here, but this is a people's place. If you locking us up, then we should be able to speak on, what's happening and how we feel about it, so and killing us too, abusing us in the jail. So uh they said 5 4, and I seen some people like kind of walking back like and I was telling them, I was like, stand y'all ground, stand, I'm gonna stand y'all ground, and
Yeah.
everybody else was kind of looking at me, kind of walking away, and so the Melanie Young, right when she put her hand on my shoulder and she said, Nikki, come on, like, like, and so as soon as she did that, that's when they just came and just grabbed me and just, just arrested me, and that was that on that, and I end up getting out. How long did I stay? I think I stayed for like 2 days in there. Like it wasn't a long time, but it was it wasn't a positive experience, but it was positive because once I told people why I was in jail, that was like, they arrested you for that. That was like, so all you was doing was just standing there, like basically like protesting and talking about injustice, and they arrested you for that. So it also gave other people in jail a chance to see, like, how messed up the system really is. Like, I know they already know in the back of their mind, like, I'm in this terrible situation. They arrested me for this and that, but like they will arrest you for even voicing how you feel, even voicing your concerns. So it was positive because we were able to like go in and tell people, what we're doing, why are we fighting, you know what I mean? And just kind of like politicize that environment. But what, as like for activism, I pray and I hope I don't get arrested again doing activism, because it's like it happened, but it's because it was at a heat of the moment. But I think, if I had to do it again, I would. But I think I would be more just plan things out and be smarter about it. You know what I'm saying? Because people have to come out of their pockets. My mom had to come out of her pocket to bail me out, and my friend came and got me. So it's draining resources as well. Like, if you don't have an organization that plans to get arrested and have the funds to get you out of jail, you pretty much stuck if you don't got anybody, that's gonna like have your back and give you the money to get out.
Nah, man. Yeah, you said a mouthful right there. I thought about a lot of things as you said that, as far as like the correlation, as far as, the civil rights movements and, the activists then and them getting arrested and having the organization. But now, through generations, we still get arrested, but it's not for those same reasons. But you took it back to the activism and the standing up for what you believe, and that's admirable, man. And that kind of reinforced me, man. So if it happens, I'll be cool. I'm gonna be cool, as long as it's for the right reason. I can kick it.
Yes.
But I guess at this point we can talk a little bit about Texas Advocates for Justice. Share with the people, what you exactly do there, what the organization does, and this is also a call to action for people in the community to get active and get involved. Because I know that you guys have a lot of things. Well, I'm gonna say we have a lot of things in the works. Because I consider myself to be a part of Taj right now. So yeah, go ahead, let the people know what's up.
Okay, so Texas Advocates for Justice It's an organization that protests against mass incarceration, the criminalization of black and brown people, and we are directly led by people who are personally impacted, meaning that their loved ones was arrested and they're fighting for their loved ones, or they themselves have been been incarcerated and they're fighting. So the movement is led by directly impacted people. um Things that we do in the community, of course, we go out, we talk to people, we canvas. We have a re-entry program where we're creating a resource packet for people once they get out of being incarcerated. And then also, we have a bill that we're working on, and what it focuses on is parole reform. So you know how when people get out of jail or whatever, what they do is they require people to find gainful employment. And so we're working on a bill that forces the state to employ people, or if you're not going to be forced to employ people with a job that meets their basic needs, then that stipulation should be taken out completely. We also have a youth justice program where we work with youth with the arts. We also have a media and research team, an artivism team where we empower people through the arts, and we put together arts events to reach out to the community. We have a Taj recruitment team where we work on recruiting people. So all of these tools that we use it to empower our members, and then we also use it to make a difference in the communities, because what we're about is building up our own programs outside of the state. We're not begging the state to do anything for us, but we're creating the reality that we want to see. So when it comes to us having an arts program, right now it's a few of us that's doing a work that's having art events and getting people used to that concept. But ultimately, what we want to do is we want to be able to show people that they can use art to change their situation, to change that environment. So in the future we plan on having art classes and art schools. Also, too, a very important program I didn't talk about is our life advancement program. And it's a therapy course that directly impacted people go to, and it centers black and brown people as well. You don't have to be directly impacted, but if you feel that you need the course, it's free. And we meet every Saturday. And we do this program because we know that mental health is important, and is led by two women that are licensed counselors, and it's Maisha Jones and Trellis Lane. And so, like I said before, we're creating that reality. We're using the resources that we have, and we're not dependent on the state to say, that they're gonna have more diversion, jail diversion programs through mental health. We're doing it on our own. So we're not only going up there to city council and to commissioners courts and talking about the problem, but we also have a solution. We created a solution ourselves to that problem. And so right now, that's what we're working on, building up the programs, um, building a community outside of, depending upon the state. And also too, going up to city council, going up to city hall, and raising our, voices of concern, and demanding that there will be change. So those are a couple of things that we're working on.
Man, those couple of things are not light, man. I love it, man. I love the fact that when you talk about it, you know so much. And that just reinforces me and fires me up. Because I was like, man, she know what she talking about. Like, well informed. That means you have passion for what you do. And then I rock with that. So if somebody wants to join, how can they join?
Oh yeah, I didn't put that part. So they can join, they can just email me, and that's the best way, at n llewellyn at grassrootsleadership.org. And I'll spell it out,
I'm about to
NLUEL.
create a little banner for it right now.
Okay.
On the, I don't know if you can see how the decoration I got on the screen. I be trying to work it out because this for my
Yeah.
YouTube people. See, we're
It
gonna do that. I got the podcast is gonna be on where you can find podcasts, but then for my YouTube people, so I'm working it out.
okay.
Let me see. Bam, I got it. But nah, you can keep. So the best way to is email.
Okay. Yes, through email. And that's NLUELLEN at grassrootsleadership.org.
See, y'all official. Y'all got the .org website. Not no Outlook, no Yahoo. No, bam! I got it on the
There
screen.
we go.
Boom.
That's what I'm talking about. Phenomenal.
Hey, come on now. I love it. I love it. So is the Saturday therapy meetings available now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And is done virtually or on the phone?
It's virtually.
Mhm.
And we have our first class is kind of already going, but we'll be starting a second class in the summertime.
Okay,
So
so oh, you got to get in. Okay.
yeah, so we I know for next time what we're going to do is advertise it a little bit better just so it'll give more people a chance to, sign up for the course because we did a month of advertising, but we kind of just circulated it through Facebook and our circle because we wanted to just get feedback from people, about that we knew about it, before we really just put it out there like that. But just witnessing how the class is working and the changes that it's making in people's lives, I know this is something that we really need to be, putting it out there more and getting the word out to the community more, and doing more promotion around it.
Exactly. And you people, when you see this stuff, don't be afraid. Stop suffering in silence. Quit thinking you alone. Get involved. Get all the information and resources that you need because that's the thing. It's out here. We just have to make the shift and be ready for it. So you brought up the reentry program with Texas Advocates for Justice. I want to know a little bit about your reentry story. Like, what was the most difficult part for you, or did you have support? Did you not have support? That because that's what it's about. Getting over that hump. So how did you get over the hump?
I had a good support system in place. Like my mom was back then, from jail or whatever. So I had that support, and I had a friend who would take me to the classes because I had to take anger management class, and I also had to do community service. And so with the community service, I did it at the Shape Center. And I think that's why it's important too for there to be organizations, advocacy organizations, community centers, because he wasn't hard on me. It was a fun space. I didn't feel like I was working. And so the first violation that I had was because they put me somewhere. I think it was like I don't know what the Habitat for Humanity. And so it was so boring that I had to, walk around that place, and it was just to me it felt like a waste of time. It felt like punishment, but when I did it with the Shape Center, and the woman actually changed it, and she said, "Would you like somewhere else?" So it wasn't that hard for me. The hardest part for me was paying the fees that they required me to pay, which is ridiculous, because if somebody already don't have the resources and I needed a court appointed attorney, then that means I didn't have the money to begin with. So a lot of my school money that I got went straight to that. So that was the hardest part about, like, I guess mine wouldn't really be called reentry, but it would be called probation. So it was my hardest part about, everything, because that's the reason why I violated. It wasn't on purpose. It was because I didn't have the resources, nor did I have the time to, I didn't see the purpose of walking around in a building with nothing to do, or, paying a whole bunch of fees for, like something when I didn't have the money, so I didn't understand it, and like I kind of rebelled against that, you know what I mean? But that's the hardest part to me, was the money aspect of it.
Yeah, no, no, that's definitely part of the obstacles. Making that money to take care of what you need to, because even though you may not want to give them that money, I mean, it's still back to the accountability, a decision that you made. So that's the fees you had to pay and X, Y, and Z. But the point of it is, when I was on probation, I remember they put me in a program that they created to help people, and it was kind of just helping you like fill out an application and things, simple things that most people know how to do. I didn't want to go in there with that mindset like I knew everything. I participated, but however, it wasn't new information. They end up dissolving the program and returning the money. That was $1 million. So in my head, I was like, well, why didn't they take that money and create like many jobs for us, for people who can't pay, so that y'all can take that money, and
Hmm.
supplement, they didn't even come up with that idea. So it's just little things like that that I don't think that they take advantage of, and more putting more, I don't know, is it responsibility on us or just more stress?
Hmm.
More stress in that sense when they're having avenues to grab these $1 million grants and makeup programs when they can make up a work program.
Come on now. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks to organizations like the one that we're a part of, we can make those changes and grab that grant money ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Like you said, we can't expect for them to do too much. Um, you know.
Yeah, because when you think about it, they don't want to give us the opportunities for empowerment, empowering ourselves. And it's almost like, it's like you want to say, do you want it to be? But it's like, of course they want it to be hard. Like, it wouldn't be black and brown people, especially black people, being locked up in mass amounts if it wasn't by design, and that's what's crazy about the whole thing, is that there's people in this world that actually think like that. Let's make it hard on these people. Let's extract all the resources from these people, so the government can stay rich, and the people stay poor, and it's really slavery again, because it's built
Oh,
on our backs.
oh yeah. For sure. So, what is life for Nikki now? Big advocate, big artist. What is your motivation or your goals now? On your personal journey.
My motivation and goals in life, let's see. um my life now is being grateful for all the opportunities that I'm getting. That's the mind space that I'm in right now, and just pushing myself to the limit, you know what I mean, and not in a negative way, but doing as much as I can to make a difference. That's my ultimate goal, using the most impact that I can make, and taking advantage of the opportunities, that are out there to make a difference in my life and make a difference in other people's lives. I've just moved into my first apartment, so I'm in my first apartment now. So
Oh,
yep. So
yeah.
I'm happy. I finally got a place, of my own, that I can say that I'm not, living with somebody. And
Oh,
then also I'm enjoying, working with Texas Advocates for Justice, because I get to advocate for people, and I get to make money doing something that I love to do. And then my other personal goals is with my art. I want to put out a book with all the plays that I've written in there, and just continue to work on my poetry, and maybe eventually do like a poetry album and a book as well, and then do more filming too. So like in the arts area, I have like a whole lot of goals and a whole lot of plans. And then for an advocacy as well, I just want to help the people, as many people as I can, and also to become a better organizer, to reach out to more people, to help, empower people, let people empower themselves, and be that person that can give them the resources and tools and the support that they need in whichever way, that looks like, so those are my goals and my plans in a nutshell.
Oh man, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. You out here living and still growing and going, and I love it, man. Man, much blessings and power to you, man. Rock out. I ain't gonna say
Thank
the second
you.
part, but rock out. Ah! That's good stuff, man. Nah, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Appreciate your time finally making this connection. Shoot, you got any last words for the people, man, on their journey from feeling to phenomenal, man?
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I want everybody to recognize the power that they have to make a difference in their lives and in the community. And I just want them to, have a message of whatever they're passionate about, whatever their gifts are, to continue to explore that and to never give up, no matter the lack of support, no matter the situation they may find themselves in, just to keep fighting, because once they keep following their passion, and doing what they love to do, even if it's not making money, even if it's not making the impact that they want to see right now, it gets greater later. You know what I mean? So it's a constant struggle, but things improve, and it's opportunities that the universe will start throwing your way once you just stay on that path. And then I can't, I can't lead a show without saying that we have our Friday policy chats from 11 to 12 noon, and it's virtual with Texas Advocates for Justice. So, I just want to throw that out there, because Mo would kill me if I didn't. I thought about it after I said everything. I was like, he gonna kill me if I don't say this. So it's very powerful, where people can come in and learn more about, policy, and we also talk about, how drugs, um how they really, how people that deal with trauma, how drugs isn't really something that we should be criminalizing, but it's a space where people need the support and they need help, and people need resources, and we need care and not cages, so
Big facts, big facts. All that's good information. I'm glad you got that last bit in there.
yeah, I throw that
Let
in
people know definitely what's going on. And shoot, there ain't nothing else to say after that. I'm gonna just go ahead and end it. What I like to say, forget society, forgive
there.
yourself, and go from felon to phenomenal. So I
Wow,
said,
love that.
hey.